Most people will spend their entire lives chasing after an income, chasing after the raises, the overtime pay, maybe a better job, a second job, maybe that big promotion or a bigger business. And while there is nothing wrong with any of those things, they all share one major weakness. The moment you stop working, so does the income stop too. So the smartest financial decision that I ever made wasn't becoming an entrepreneur. It wasn't investing, it wasn't real estate, and it wasn't getting into network marketing. It was something that was much, much bigger. I made the decision to focus on ownership. I decided that every dollar I earned would eventually be converted into assets that produce money, the passive kind. And that shift changed pretty much everything. When I first started, I traded time for money just like everyone else. I worked, I got paid, I worked more, got paid more. But eventually I realized there was a problem with that. No matter how hard I worked, there were only so many hours in a day, and I'm only one person. My income had a ceiling because my time had a ceiling. So I started asking different questions. So instead of asking, how do I make more money? I started asking, how do I own more things that make money for me? Those are completely different questions with completely different answers. One focuses on effort, the other focuses on ownership. So later, I became an entrepreneur. I built a network marketing business. For the first time in my life, I experienced leveraged income. Money could come in even when I wasn't actively working, and that was a huge lesson. But eventually I realized something important. The business was producing income. The business itself was not fully mine. So I began converting that income into assets that I actually owned. Assets that could not be taken away because the company changed compensation plans, assets that could not disappear because management changed direction. These are assets that belonged to me. That became the mission. Acquire assets, own assets, increase passive income, repeat, because ownership creates optionality. It's ownership that creates real freedom. Ownership creates security. Ownership creates time. The goal was never to become rich. The goal was to become less dependent on bosses, less dependent on customers, less dependent on whatever the economy is doing, and less dependent on having to wake up every morning and trade another day of my life for another paycheck. So today, if I could give one piece of financial advice to my younger self, it would be this: whatever path you choose, employee, entrepreneur, freelancer, business owner, investor, start building assets as early as possible. The path can vary. The destination should not, because income pays the bills, but ownership changes your life. The wealthiest people in the world are not simply high earners, they are owners. And the sooner you begin thinking like an owner, the sooner your financial life starts moving in a completely different direction. Focus less on making money, focus more on owning things that make money. That single decision changed everything for me. And if you want to learn more about these concepts, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because this is what I focus on.